Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Hello, this is Wendy the Key, and I have your devotional today. I always try to keep it under 5 minutes, but sometimes I run over and sometimes it's around 6 minutes. This is my fourth devotional, so I am excited. So for 4 days in a row, I have been giving you guys devotionals. Yay! Well, anyway, my devotional today is going to come from several scriptures. Don't worry, I'll do the work. I'll read all the scriptures and I can leave you with the scriptures and you can go back and read them. But yesterday, I was on my cousin's page. Her name is Denise Scott, and she had something very, that it just touched me so deeply. And I want to read it to you. I am going to try to read fast for the sake of time, and not only for the sake of time, but my children are sleeping early in the morning like this, and a lot of times I try and hurry up and do these videos before they wake up. Okay, let me just read this to you. Now, this is was actually on my cousin Denise Scott's page, but it was originally written by Shannon Edwards, okay, and it also has a photo, and I shared it on my Facebook page in case you guys want to go and look at it. Okay, it says, Pastor Jeremiah, let me scroll up some because I am scrolled too far down. Pastor Jeremiah Steppick transformed himself into a homeless person and went to a 10,000 member church that he was to be introduced as the head pastor to. And that morning he walked around that soon-to-be church for about 30 minutes, and he was just filling out people for the service, and 3 out of the 7 to 10,000 people said hello. He asked for change to buy food. No one in the church gave him change. He went into the sanctuary. He sat in front of the church and was asked by the ushers if he would please go to the back and sit in the back rows of the church. As he sat in the back of the church, he listened to church announcements. Then he, after all that was done, the elders, he went up and they were excited to introduce the new pastor to the congregation. And the congregation, they were very excited as well. Well, he said, we would like to introduce to you Pastor Jeremiah Steppick. The congregation looked around, clapping with joy, clapping with anticipation because they're looking for their new pastor. Then the clapping stopped and all the eyes were on him. He walked up to the altar and took the microphone from the elders who were, I guess, officiating at the time. And he paused for a moment and he recited, "Then the king shall say to those on his right, come you who are blessed to my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." The righteous will answer him and say, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and didn't feed you? When did we see you thirsty and didn't give you something to drink? When did we see you as a stranger and didn't invite you in, or needing clothes and we didn't clothe you?" And the king will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of the brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." After this, he recited and he looked toward the congregation and he told them that what he had did as far as his experiment that morning. Many of the people in the congregation just bawled out in tears. They began to cry. Many heads were bowed. They were bowed in shame. And then he said, "Today I see a gathering of people." He said, "I don't see a church of Jesus Christ. The world has enough people, but not enough disciples of Christ. When you decide to become disciples," he said, "I'm going to dismiss the service until next week." Being a Christian is more than something that you claim. It's something that you live by and share with others. So if you go on my page, that really touched me yesterday when I read that. But if you go on my page, it's actually a picture of him dressed like that. And it was just really, really touching to me that sometimes, the world per se can look down on people that may not look like we look or may not have the same things we have. So I'm going to read to you a couple of verses before I go. Proverbs 19 and 17. Proverbs 19 and 17. "He that hath pity on the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and which he hath given, he will repay him again." Okay, let me go again to, Proverbs 22:9. Proverbs 22:9. "He that hath a bountiful eye shall be blessed, for he giveth his bread to the poor." And then let me flip over here to Isaiah 58 and 10. Isaiah 58:10. And if thou shalt draw out thy soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity and thy darkness be as noonday. And the very, very last one is Luke 14. Luke 14 verses 12 through 14. Luke 14 verses 12 through 14. Then he said unto him, when thou makest dinner or supper, call not thy friends or brethren or thy kinsmen and their rich neighbors and basically everybody who has money. But when thou makest a feast, call the poor, the lame, the blind, call the people who don't have other sisters and brothers and people that are in their area, and thou shalt be blessed, for they cannot recompense thee. Okay, so that was really deep. So yeah, yesterday. So thank you, Denise Scott, for putting that post up. It really touched me. I try and share devotionals every day, especially, just something I felt like the Lord laid on my heart to do. And it just really makes us take a look at things. I mean, ever since I was a child, I was just telling someone the other day that we used to go visit New York City. And I would look and I would see a lot of the homeless people that were on the streets, and they would be sleeping, having newspapers over them, and I'd be in the back seat and I'd be secretively crying. I would actually be crying. And I remember asking my mama, I said, Mama, why don't they give them somewhere to sleep, or why don't they feed them? And I was so ashamed. I was 7 years old. I was so ashamed that I was crying for these people, but little did I know that the Lord was just giving me the heart of compassion for others. And it's just a blessing to have that heart of compassion for others and to remember those who cannot do for themselves. I hope you enjoyed my devotion for today. I hope that tomorrow you will join me as well. And remember to go ahead on my page. Thank you.